Hello and welcome to United Buzz, your daily destination for all things Manchester United. Let's get started. As the Red Devils work to rebuild after a turbulent campaign, one name continues to hover at the center of their summer plans: Victor Gyokeres. The Swedish striker, who flourished under Ruben Amorim at Sporting CP last season, has become one of the most talked-about targets in European football. Strong, clinical, and intelligent in his movement, Gyokeres is the kind of striker who could lead the line for any top club, and Manchester United desperately needs someone like him. But Gyokeres is not in a hurry. In fact, the 26-year-old has made his stance clear in private conversations. According to sources close to the striker, he is willing to consider a move to Old Trafford, but only if Ruben Amorim presents a convincing plan. In Gyokeres' own words, "If Amorim has a winning plan, I'll join United. But if it goes wrong, I'll take the Arsenal offer." That sentence says everything about where Manchester United stand in the current European pecking order. For years, the club's badge was enough. The name alone attracted top talent. Now, it's about trust. It's about proof. Gyokeres doesn't just want a paycheck. He wants to know that the project at Old Trafford isn't another false dawn. He's been part of something successful before at Sporting, and if he's going to leave that behind, he needs guarantees. Arsenal, by contrast, represent a more stable project right now. They've qualified for the Champions League, built a young, exciting squad, and pushed for the title in 2 consecutive seasons under Mikel Arteta. From a sporting point of view, they seem to be one step ahead. That's why Gyokeres is keeping the door open. It's not about money, it's about ambition and execution. But United haven't lost him yet. Ruben Amorim remains a key factor. The Portuguese coach has a strong personal relationship with Gyokeres, forged during their successful time in Lisbon. If anyone can convince the striker to believe in Manchester United again, it's Amorim, but time is ticking, and Arsenal are waiting. Meanwhile, as one major transfer decision looms, another story has quietly made headlines: the return of Paul Pogba to League One. According to multiple reports, including confirmation from transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, Pogba has agreed a move to AS Monaco. A verbal agreement is already in place, and the French midfielder is expected to undergo a medical later this week. The deal is reportedly a 2-year contract, marking what could be a final chapter in one of modern football's most dramatic and polarizing careers. Pogba's journey has been anything but simple. From leaving United for free to Juventus as a teenager, to returning as the club's record signing, to winning trophies but never fully winning over the fans, it's been a story of brilliance, frustration, and unfulfilled potential. His second spell at Juventus ended in disappointment, plagued by injuries and capped off by a doping ban that further clouded his once shining legacy. Now 32, Pogba isn't chasing headlines anymore. He's looking for stability, for a stage where he can enjoy the final stretch of his playing career in peace. And Monaco might just be the perfect place. A team with ambitions, but not chaos. A league he knows well. A country where he feels at home. In some ways, the contrast between Gyokeres and Pogba is symbolic. One is looking ahead, trying to decide whether to step into a high-pressure rebuild at one of the world's biggest clubs. The other is looking for calm after years of chaos. Yet both stories speak to the current state of Manchester United. This is a club in transition, still huge, still powerful, but no longer guaranteed to be the first choice. Not for players like Gyokeres, not even for players like Pogba, who once carried the number 6 shirt with swagger and hope. The United forward line could look very different come September. And then, of course, there's Marcus Rashford. The academy graduate, long considered one of the club's brightest stars, had a turbulent season both on and off the pitch. He was inconsistent in front of goal, struggled with form, and even found himself dropped from the starting lineup at times. Now the latest twist in his story involves Barcelona. According to TalkSport, the Spanish Giants have begun exploring a move for Rashford this summer. Interestingly, this is in addition to their top priority target, Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. In other words, Barcelona are not choosing between the two. They want both. And despite their ongoing financial constraints, they're reportedly hopeful of landing Rashford on loan, rather than a permanent deal. As it stands, United are in a precarious position. Ruben Amorim is trying to build a new era, but he's also walking a tightrope. Key targets are slipping through his fingers. Top talents are attracting interest from other clubs. And while some players like Martinez and Cunha have already arrived, the transfer puzzle is far from complete. The stories of Højlund, Sancho, Garnacho, Gyokeres, and Rashford are all interconnected. Each move depends on the other, a domino effect that could reshape the front half of United's squad in a matter of weeks. For fans, it's both exciting and nerve-wracking. The club is clearly active and the ambition is there, but the execution will be everything. In the coming days, United must make hard decisions. Will they hold on to Rashford or let him chase his Barcelona dream? Will they match Brentford's demands for Mbeumo or look elsewhere? And most urgently, if Gyokeres truly prefers Arsenal, who becomes their plan B? The Serbian striker could view a Premier League move as the fresh start his career needs. For United, it could solve two problems at once: offloading Sancho, whose time at the club has clearly run its course, and adding a powerful, goal-hungry centre-forward to lead the line. It's no secret that Manchester United need more goals. The club struggled last season, finishing a shocking 15th in the Premier League, far below their usual standards. Ruben Amorim knows that unless he fixes the problems up front, it won't matter how many clean sheets Martinez keeps. Vlahovic might just be that solution. Meanwhile, another big development behind the scenes has been the growing transfer war chest. Manchester United could find themselves working with as much as £200 million in funds, depending on how outgoing transfers work out. Key among these possible sales is Alejandro Garnacho. Several clubs in England, Italy, and Spain are reportedly circling, with interest building. Ruben Amorim reportedly isn't fully convinced Garnacho fits into his plans, and with the young Argentine keen to cement a place in Argentina's World Cup squad next year, a move might suit both parties. United want at least £50 million for him. And let's not forget the ongoing talk around Manchester United's midfield. There has been a real focus on creating a new, balanced engine room. Amorim's system requires a lot from his midfielders, and that's why the earlier Mainu U-turn is such a fascinating story. Initially, there were whispers that Kobbie Mainoo might be on his way out on loan to get more regular first-team football elsewhere. But Amorim seems to have changed his stance. Now the young midfielder is set to play a big role in the manager's plans next season. That's good news for fans who've wanted to see more of Mainoo's technical quality and energy in the middle of the park. One of the most intriguing parts of this summer, though, isn't necessarily happening on the pitch. Behind the scenes, the specter of Sheikh Jassim and Qatar refuses to go away. Despite losing the takeover battle to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, reports from respected sources continue to suggest that Qatar haven't abandoned hope of eventually owning Manchester United. What impact that could have on transfers down the line remains to be seen, but right now, it's all eyes on the present, and on Ruben Amorim's rebuild. There's no doubt about it. This is one of the most exciting, unpredictable transfer windows in recent Manchester United history. A new manager, a fresh approach. Young, hungry players mixed with elite-level experience like Emi Martinez, swap deals, shock wildcard moves, and ambitious transfer targets. All of it is pointing to one thing: Manchester United are going for it. The next few weeks will tell us everything we need to know about whether Amorim is up to the task, whether the board can back their new manager, and whether this really can be the summer that changes everything for Manchester United. For the fans, hope is beginning to grow again. Old Trafford may have fallen silent last season, but if these transfer deals come off, the theater of dreams could roar back to life again. While some names have been expected, others have raised eyebrows. But if there's one thing United fans have learned over the years, it's to expect the unexpected. One of the latest surprises in the market is Manchester United's reported interest in Moise Kean. Once seen as one of Italy's brightest young strikers, Keane's career has been a roller coaster. He burst onto the scene as a teenager at Juventus, had a mixed spell at Everton, spent time at Paris Saint-Germain, and now finds himself rebuilding his reputation at Fiorentina. And it looks like he's doing exactly that. Kean has been finding the back of the net consistently for Fiorentina, reminding everyone of the raw talent that made him such a hot property just a few years ago. And according to reports, Ruben Amorim is a big admirer of the Italian striker. With Rasmus Højlund's future uncertain and the need for goals up front growing by the day, Kean could represent a smart, if slightly risky solution. But as always with Manchester United, nothing is simple. Interest from Saudi Arabian clubs has emerged, and not just casual interest. These clubs are reportedly prepared to offer Kean an incredible financial package, the kind of salary that would dwarf anything Manchester United are willing or able to provide. While the allure of Old Trafford might be strong, it's no secret that players' heads can be turned by the life-changing sums on offer in Saudi Arabia. Still, for Kean, the opportunity to reignite his career at one of the world's most famous clubs may hold its own appeal. Playing in front of 75,000 fans at Old Trafford, competing in the Premier League, and potentially being the focal point of Ruben Amorim's attack, it's the kind of challenge a striker like Kean might relish. But United will need to act fast if they're serious. The Saudis have money, but Manchester United have history, prestige, and the chance to compete at the highest level of European football again. While the Moise Kean pursuit plays out, another massive decision is brewing behind the scenes at Carrington, the future of the club's #1 goalkeeper. After a season filled with mistakes, high-pressure errors, and growing frustration from fans, the club is now reportedly open to letting Andre Onana leave, but only if the right offer comes in. Enter Marco Carnesecchi. The Atalanta shot-stopper has quietly built himself into one of Serie A's most dependable keepers. Still just 24, Carnesecchi kept an impressive 18 clean sheets last season and has shown not just athleticism, but also real leadership at the back for his club. Importantly, Manchester United already have a good relationship with Atalanta, having signed Amad Diallo and Rasmus Højlund from them in recent years. That could help move things along quickly if United decide to make Carnesecchi their new #1. For Ruben Amorim, replacing Onana with Carnesecchi would send a strong signal that standards are being raised. Onana's struggles last season, especially in big moments, cost United dearly. If Amorim is going to rebuild United into a serious force, tough decisions like this are inevitable. Carnesecchi might not have the same name recognition as some of Europe's top keepers, but his form in Italy suggests he could be a very smart addition for the long term. And let's not forget the Jadon Sancho story, which refuses to go away. Juventus are still pushing to sign him, with talk of a potential swap deal involving Dusan Vlahovic being floated in Italy. Meanwhile, the Garnacho situation remains delicate. The Argentine youngster is one of the brightest talents at the club, but with reported interest from several Premier League clubs, Italy and Spain, it's clear that United will be tested if firm offers arrive. And then there's the ever-present goal of refreshing the midfield. The signing of Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad is reportedly edging closer, with the Spanish midfielder ready to become one of the first big pieces of Amorim's Manchester United rebuild. Through all of this, one thing is absolutely clear. Manchester United are preparing for their most important summer in years. Failure to get the right players now could lead to another wasted season, more managerial uncertainty, and further frustration from one of the most passionate fan bases in world football. Success in the transfer market, however, could finally set the stage for a genuine revival at Old Trafford. With names like Keane, Carnesecchi, Mbeumo, Sancho, Gyokeres, and Zubimendi all swirling around the transfer headlines, United's summer is a balancing act between ambition and reality. Major decisions need to be made, and fast. But in typical Manchester United fashion, nothing is straightforward. And one of the key names at the heart of their plans right now is Bryan Mbeumo. The Brentford forward has been one of the standout attacking players in the Premier League over the past year, and his 20-goal season has turned heads across Europe. United know they need more goals, more creativity, and more energy in their attack, and Mbeumo ticks every box. United made their move early, reportedly submitting an offer of £45 million, with £10 million in add-ons. A total package of £55 million for one of the most exciting forwards outside of the Premier League's traditional top six seemed like smart business. But Brentford didn't see it that way. The Bees rejected the proposal, making it crystal clear that they expect more, a lot more. The complication isn't just about the amount of money, it's about how that money gets paid. Manchester United were hoping to structure the deal with several installments spread out over multiple years. That's fairly common practice in football, especially for big transfers. But Brentford aren't playing games. They've told United that they want the bulk of the money up front, cash on the table, not promises over 5 years. That demand is a problem for Manchester United's current financial strategy. The club is already trying to juggle multiple deals this summer, and paying up front for Mbeumo could limit their flexibility in chasing other targets. Making things worse, Tottenham are lurking in the background. Spurs recently hired Thomas Frank as their new manager, and his close relationship with Mbeumo from their time together at Brentford makes Tottenham an attractive option for the player if United drag their feet. For United fans, this is a familiar frustration. The club often targets good players, makes early bids, but then negotiations drag on, other clubs get involved, and the whole process becomes messy. And this time, with Ruben Amorim tasked with rebuilding confidence and identity at Old Trafford, time is something they don't have in abundance. Despite these complications, United are preparing a fresh offer. They remain firmly in the hunt for Mbeumo, knowing he could bring something different to their forward line. But if Brentford don't budge on their payment terms, United may be forced to make a difficult choice. Go all in for Mbeumo and risk other deals, or walk away and look elsewhere for attacking reinforcements. Amidst the uncertainty surrounding Mbeumo, other deals continue to swirl around Old Trafford. Perhaps the most significant development came courtesy of Fabrizio Romano, who dropped the news that Manchester United have agreed a deal to sign Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. The Spanish midfielder has reportedly given his verbal agreement to join the Red Devils, with United ready to trigger his €60 million release clause. For many supporters, this is exactly the type of signing United need: young, talented, and ready to be part of Amorim's long-term vision. Zubimendi brings energy, technical ability, and composure in midfield, qualities that have been missing for too long at Old Trafford. While Mbeumo and Zubimendi are the headline names right now, there's also been speculation about Mason Mount's future. The Champions League winner arrived at Manchester United with high hopes, but injuries and inconsistency meant his first season was frustrating. Reports began circulating that Mount could be on his way out, with Aston Villa reportedly plotting a summer move for the midfielder as they prepare for European football. But according to Romano, Mount has no intention of giving up just yet. He's focused on getting fully fit, completing pre-season, and proving to Amorim that he deserves a starting spot in the new-look Manchester United. For Mount, this upcoming season could be career-defining. It wouldn't be a Manchester United transfer window without some truly wild rumors, and one of the most surprising stories in recent days involves Alejandro Garnacho. Reports have emerged claiming that Manchester United and Chelsea have been discussing a potential swap deal involving Garnacho and Christopher Nkunku. At this stage, it's understood that no direct talks have taken place between the two clubs, but the idea is floating around behind the scenes. Will Mbeumo be wearing red at Old Trafford next season? Will Zubimendi bring much-needed class to the midfield? Can Mason Mount finally prove his worth? And will Garnacho stay to fulfill his enormous potential? Sancho's career at Manchester United has fallen far short of expectations. Injuries, inconsistent form, and managerial disagreements have all played a role in a frustrating chapter for the England international. Now, it looks increasingly likely that his time in Manchester is coming to an end. But Sancho's story might yet have an interesting twist. According to reports in Italy, Juventus are not just interested in signing Sancho. They are reportedly open to the idea of using Dusan Vlahovic as part of a swap deal. Vlahovic, the Serbian striker, has long been admired by Manchester United. Strong, clinical, and still only in his early 20s, he's exactly the type of forward United have been searching for as they rebuild under Amorim's leadership. The idea of a straight swap, Sancho for Vlahovic, is intriguing. For United, it would provide an instant solution to one of their biggest problems: a reliable number 9 who can score goals at the highest level. For Juventus, it gives them a chance to land a high-profile player who desperately needs a fresh start in a new league. Sancho himself, it seems, is open to the move. Reports suggest that he views Juventus as a prestigious club, and he's even prepared to accept a pay cut in order to make the transfer happen. That's a significant detail. Sancho is still only 25, with many good years ahead of him, and moving to Juventus could give him the environment and responsibility he's been lacking at United. Regular first-team football, a new challenge, and a different style of play might be exactly what he needs to revive his career. And for Juventus, the chance to get a winger of Sancho's ability in exchange for Vlahovic could make sense, especially if Vlahovic remains hesitant about his long-term future in Turin. Yet, this is Manchester United. Nothing is ever simple. While talks are reportedly ongoing between intermediaries from both clubs, Vlahovic's reluctance to leave Juventus is complicating things. He's already turned down interest from Turkey and the Saudi Pro League, and so far, he has given no clear signal that he's eager to jump ship to the Premier League. That could mean that even if United are open to the idea, it might still be a difficult deal to complete. But even with his growing status at United, Garnacho's long-term future is now being questioned. According to reports, the young Argentine has told close friends that those in Argentina's national team setup believe he should move to a more competitive league if he wants to boost his chances of starting at the next World Cup. The 2026 tournament, set to take place across the USA, Canada, and Mexico, will be massive for Argentina, and the competition for attacking places in that squad will be fierce. While the money being offered from clubs in Saudi Arabia is eye-watering, Garnacho is said to be reluctant to take that risk. He knows that playing at the highest level in Europe gives him the best chance to stay in Lionel Scaloni's plans for Argentina. Those close to the player suggest that if he does leave Manchester United this summer, a move to another top Premier League side or a switch to La Liga or Serie A is the more likely path. Interestingly, Juventus, who are circling Sancho, are also being linked with Garnacho. According to reports from Italy, the Turin Giants have made direct contact with Manchester United in recent days about Sancho, and some believe they may also try to include Garnacho in future talks. For United, the prospect of losing both of these attacking players would represent a huge shakeup in the squad, but with Amorim keen to put his own stamp on the team, almost nothing is off the table. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Another story continues to simmer, one that isn't directly about players on the pitch, but about the ownership of the club itself. Many thought that saga was over when Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos successfully purchased a minority stake in the club, winning the race ahead of rival bids. But new reports suggest that Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani of Qatar has not given up hope of owning Manchester United in the future. It's been said that Sheikh Jassim is still quietly monitoring the situation. Despite pulling out of the previous bidding process, sources close to the Qatari royal family insist that the desire to own Manchester United remains alive. Whether or not a future opportunity opens up is anyone's guess, but the idea of full Qatari ownership is still on the minds of some within the footballing world. For Manchester United supporters, it's a lot to digest. For Manchester United fans, it's been a mixture of hope, frustration, and expectation over recent weeks. Big names are being linked, negotiations are being opened, but nothing is ever simple at Old Trafford. It's a transfer market full of twists and turns, and as always, United seem to be involved in some of the most dramatic storylines. One of the players making headlines right now is Brazilian winger Antony. Signed with so much excitement from Ajax, Antony's time at Manchester United hasn't exactly gone according to plan. Injuries, inconsistency, and off-field distractions have seen him struggle to justify the massive fee United paid for him. Now, his future is very much up in the air. According to Fabrizio Romano, Italian side Como have made a surprise move to sign Antony in recent days. Manchester United are aware of his preference, but as of now, there's no agreement in place between the two clubs. Betis want Antony, Antony wants Betis, but the financial terms have yet to be finalized.